Okay, good morning, Year 5. I have got some children here that have got something really exciting to say. Hi! Surprise! We're here again. So our next chapter is called On the River. I might not get time to finish the whole thing, but I'm going to give it my best go, and hopefully there are no horrible cliffhangers. Hopefully. Okay, so it was almost completely dark when they found somewhere to moor. A place where the bank didn't rise too steeply from the river, and where the trees didn't look so much like an army ranged on the bank. Lila steered the raft towards land, and Fred jumped to shore. "I'll check there aren't any caiman marks," he said. "I'll come too," said Con. "No," said Max. He gripped her ankle. "Stay with me." Con flushed and swallowed a smile. She stayed, and Fred walked through the patches of trees, his heart beating in his ears, swinging a stick ahead of him through the ferns, sniffing for the smell of anything recently killed. But it smelt only of growing things, and of resin, and of birds. "It's fine," he called out. "It's safe." His voice twisted, echoing through the trees to reach the others, and they shouted instructions back to him and to each other and pushed the raft ashore. It didn't occur to anybody not to trust one another now, he thought. They had become a pack, or an expedition, he corrected himself. That was what you called a group of explorers. They slept that night on the forest floor, their backs touching. Though the day had been heavy with sun, the night was cloudless and cold, and Fred slept with his knees tucked up into his shirt. He found it was unexpectedly reassuring now to feel Max's foot near his nose when he turned in the night. When the nightmares came, it was good to be able to hear the others breathing. They travelled on for another day and another night, the river carrying them at its own pace on its silver back. None of them spoke much. They watched the sides of the banks, waiting, alert and tense. On the morning of the third day, they had barely cast off when it started to rain. Max was sitting, staring out at the splashes rebounding on the river, when he let out a scream. "Sharks, Lila! Sharks!" "Where?" Lila grabbed Max's wrist. "Hold on to me," she said. "Don't move." Fred looked around. There was only the expanse of water and the thrum of falling rain. "Do we think there's going to be sharks in the Amazon?"
No. Yeah.
Why not? Why might there not be?
Because they go in the ocean, and if they're in another land, then they might die because it's not their
There might
habitat.
occasionally be a shark in a river, but I don't think in the Amazon River. There are no sharks in the Amazon, Max, he said. "You don't have to worry." But even as the words were leaving his mouth, he saw what Max had seen. A fin rising out of the water. Con screamed. Lila let out a hiss and Fred froze. He said, speaking through rigid jaws, "Max, come away from the side of the raft." Then the fin dipped, disappeared, and out of the water leapt an arc of pinkish grey body, curving against the rain and the thunder-coloured sun. What do you think it might be? It's pink.
A pink dolphin.
Who said a pink dolphin?
Me.
You might be right. So, the arc of pink. Oh no, hang on. "A dolphin," said Lila. Her whole face was transformed. Fred rubbed his eyes, wait for it. But he hadn't imagined it. The dolphin was pink. The arc of pink was followed by another, dipping so that the half curve of its back rose out of the water, and another, and then a puff of water from a dolphin's blowhole. They were coming closer. "Shall we jump in?" asked Fred. "Will they let us swim with them?" "Don't," said Con. "There might be." What might there be? What have we met before? Piranhas. Well done. The pod of dolphins circled the raft at a distance. There were 5 of them. Fred thought, or possibly 6. One leapt up clean out of the water, only 6 feet away. Max clapped and squealed. "Shh," said Lila. "We have to be quiet, Maxie. They're deciding if they trust us." It did seem that this was what the dolphins were doing. There was something speculative in the way they swam closer, doubled back and away, and closer again. Then, without warning, the pod turned and began to swim away. The rain grew thicker. Fred's heart lurched. He couldn't bear to see them go, so he pulled off his shoes, stood up and dived in, striking hard for the disappearing dolphins. As he neared them, 4 of the dolphins sped up and ducked deeper into the water, but one turned around. Fred trod water and he held out his hand. He tried to stay as still as he could. The dolphin swam up to him, a shape approaching under the surface. He gasped and spat out the water. It was rose grey and covered in deep scars along its back. Its snout was lined with fierce-looking teeth, but its eyes were steady and soft. Fred tried to steady his breathing. So what might his breathing have sounded like? It was the most astonishing thing he'd ever seen. It was like a battered river god. He held out his hand again. "Hello," he whispered. "I'm Fred." "Hello," the dolphin said. No, that's just a joke. The dolphin didn't really talk. The dolphin dipped its nose to Fred's hand. He gasped at the surprising roughness of its skin. It butted his hand and then huffed as it disappointed and ducked down deep under the surface. Fred watched, expecting its shadow to disappear, but as he turned back to the raft, the dolphin erupted from the water in front of him. It leapt clean over his head, showering him with spray, and dipped down again and then disappeared. The others were shouting and beckoning from the raft. They hauled him up, all three trying to grab him at once. Fred couldn't speak, or he didn't want to. He wanted the memory to be sharp, carbon copied onto his heart. He imagined his father's face when he told him. His heart sang and thrummed in his chest, but the others were boiling over with questions and ideas. "It was like they trusted you," said Con. "Or maybe it thought you were going to feed it," said Lila. "Maybe someone was feeding them those sardines," said Fred. "What sardines? What's he referring to?"
The can.
The tin of sardines that they found in the river. So that's linking back up to the fact there could be someone in the jungle with them. But we will find out more tomorrow. So, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye everybody, see you tomorrow.